And we're back for another scintillating session of A Tale of Two Daughters, playing the wonderful Harnmaster 3.5 rules in the highly detailed and hugely well supported Harn setting. And when we last left, our heroes had finished their expedition to Zanoth Abbey and were slowly making their way um, back to the the earldom of Perot, the Earl of Neff, the earldom of Neff, excuse me. Um, Gardiran and other related keeps in that area. But on the way, as they had left their animals, war horses and other beasts, stabled at Naniom Bridge, which I will go ahead and move the view to. I kind of broke a trend here. I'm supposed to usually show you guys where you're at in the world. Well, let's do that real quick. Naniom Bridge is not entirely on this map, but it is. This map is again not a highly accurate map. It's around here. Right? It's in this area. Because the Neff doesn't take the course that really shows in that map there. So you are at the you're here at the crossing of Naniom Bridge, a well-known, well-fortified bridge, not really belonging to anybody, but is somewhat controlled by the Mercantilers Guild, who have made a small trading post and hostel here, and you have managed to kick out your status, anybody who was previously staying in the hostel, and have taken up rooms there, and had gone to this small common room where there's some basic drinks being served. And Hafen had engaged in conversation with a gentleman, looks like he's in late 40s or 50s, um, fairly well spoken, well dressed, but strangely completely fluent in Teldin, but has not spoken a word of it to you. Hafen would address him in Teldin language because he identified him by his look as being full-blooded Teldin, which is looks a lot like a Jaren. But when he replied to Hafen's comments in Teldin, he replied in very cultured sounding Harnick. And I believe that we had left off that you were going to meet later in the evening and have further discussion. Is that what you recall, Hafen?
Right. He had to pack up his bags and move out of our room.
And there was that too. Yes, he had been exiled to the
And
common room here. But you had seen as he was packing up his bags, books that were on the table, and the room is quite crowded. There is first your group came in there and doubled the occupancy, but there's a fair amount of travelers and mercenaries and other folk that are in the common room. It is late in the evening when you guys finally pulled in here. Probably late in the afternoon is right now around sunset. So you are shifting things around and sorting out who's going where. And but I did think that you were intending to have some words with him later, as I recall. So we'll do some hand waving, and we will say that it's about an hour later, and most of the people that were in the bunkhouse have vacated, giving you some surly looks during that process. And you have moved your stuff in, intending to have finally a nice rest on some real mattresses and pillows, while they have been exiled to, various nooks and crannies and bits of floor here and there. And so Kaelwyn is, I'll go ahead and move him over here. He's taken up a spot at the fire. Um, we'll say that Faradir, his men have vacated. Um, many people have kind of gone to corners and are beginning to bed down for the night. Um, there's the last call is going on here soon, and things are beginning to quiet down. This is not really a raucous place. People are not having drinks well into the evening, but you can have a simple meal here and an ale or a beer or a few things to drink before going to bed. Um, what do you guys wish to do with the evening time, if anything? There are some travelers, mercenaries, people like that coming through here. I haven't really had any announced that many have stood out other than Kaelin over there. But anything that you guys want to do? Do you guys want to have a drink or two? Go to bed early? What was your intentions?
My other question is, what is the calendar date right now? I don't have that written down. I don't know if we have a religious thing right now.
I mean, we can always do a little thing at midnight, but
But other
And
than
I
that,
can spend the evening expounding on the wonders of.
Of Elvir? Of course. I will.
Ilvir, yes.
if he's
you
going to
see
do that in
some
the
of
main
those?
room, I will be drinking.
Yes, I'm going to be doing it in the main room because I know I have a captive audience.
you do. They are not. They cannot bed down anyplace else. Well, let's
Yes,
see.
I know.
So, I'm going to roll that critical failures do have a chance of you receiving a beating, but go
Oh,
ahead and
hey,
make
okay.
a. I believe that
So that's oration.
oration. It's definitely oration, as you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to be around for that.
Yeah, I'm going to bed.
Oh.
Well, you tried. You can certainly mark
Yes, and
down
at
that
least I tried.
you continue to mark down oration as a skill that you're using as you try to exhort people to follow in the faith of Ilvir and are roundly ignored. But go ahead and check off that use of oration. As you get better at it, you will be successful and will start to maybe win people over
Mm-hmm.
and gain piety, which I know is your main goal right now. Because if you find yourself in a crisis, you are in
I have.
trouble.
Oh yeah, because I got like 6 piety.
Six piety. Well, but you're alive. That's the important thing. After being a
That's
victim of
true. That's true.
your own spell.
Yes, well, it happens. It's Ilvir's way of testing us.
Okay, so he does that. Does not really seem to gain much attention. What do you guys wish to do?
Well, I do want to talk to our new friend of the mystery man, but I was also going to just kind of, I don't know, talk to a lot of people around, get the normal on a water cooler update from around the water cooler, and really, I'm gonna kind of put up the, well, obviously the front, that I'm looking for a friend of mine in the miners guild who told me he was working in this area, and but I didn't get the details. He left before he had him, and I was trying to reconnect with him. Um, and so if anybody's ran into the miners and know what they're up to in the area, I would like to know so I can find my friend. Oh, let's see. Um, Henari.
Making names up.
Um, yeah, making names up. Henari Herman with two A's.
I'm trying to see what.
It's probably a coded Uthram Rollery name, but um, I don't know what that. I don't know exactly what skill that would be, but only spend an hour or two doing that. I do want to talk to our
Um, and, and I,
mysterious Teldin.
and I may have forgotten. What is your intention with that? Because I forgot what you're trying to
Yeah, I
accomplish.
probably haven't spoken about it, and I'll certainly talk to Xerxen. I'm not 100% convinced that um, well, and really the Loranians are gone, right? It was
You went to bed
their
early.
idea to check into that silver mine. So I'm worried that the Miners Guild is aware of the silver mine that we poked our noses into, and may or may not be marshaling here and or already scouting silver. up near Zanoth, and if they're in cahoots with the Loranian Church to exploit that, I would like to know about it.
Gotcha. You talk about the miners and miners guild, and I'm just kind of reviewing a map of the area real quick. Um, and certainly north of Naniom Bridge, of course, that's all Telda territory, but there is, there's that silver mine, which was originally is probably at one point used by the Kuzdal, and then maybe 500 years ago used by um, that was even before Kaldor existed as a kingdom. So that thing was ancient, and that thing was old, old, old. Um, but when you ask about Miners Guild, they say miners come through here, but there's no mines that were that are in the area. Nobody. I'm just Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Miners come through, but there's nobody. They don't stay. There's no mines around here. They kind of look at you.
Yeah, it was very strange of Hermie to say that he was going to be working around here. I don't know. Maybe he was on, stable duty or something and was going to be mucking something out or paying somebody's debts. But I was going to ask around because that's what he told me. So peculiar.
Yeah, they
Anyway,
don't. They don't recognize the name, and they don't profess to have much knowledge of any mines being worked in the area.
okay.
That's kind of the general talk. Uh, Members of the guild do frequently come through here. It is a major crossroads, kind of connecting the northeastern part of Kaldor to the northwestern part of Kaldor.
Yeah.
Um, but not nothing active in the area as far as you can ascertain. And nobody's been taught. No, nobody's stayed here for any length of time. I think that's probably the best summary that you're looking for there.
Yep, that's fair.
Okay. All right. And Bridget, are you gonna do anything? Lady Bridget, Dame Bridget, you're muted.
It's literally not letting me unmute. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I'm going to bed, like I said.
All right. To bed you go. You find that Faradir and they are already snoring. Um, are you going to hang out, Ted? Aramis?
And continue to talk about Ilvir, yes.
Okay. All right. So
Until
slowly,
late, and then I'll go to sleep.
well, people will slowly start to circle out of the room um, as the evening goes on. Let's pull some things up. Sir Aiden, are you following Bridget to bed, hanging out in the common room? What are you up to?
I'm not looking for anything to do. I'm gonna probably hang out the common room, have a few drinks, and then I'll head to bed.
Everybody slowly over a period of time cycles out. Those that remain that are not part of your party, they kind of just throw themselves into a corner and um, draw a cloak about themselves and or sleep on the floor here and there. The staff slowly goes away and is out of view until finally, at this point of the evening, other than a few people that are asleep in the corners here and there, um, it is just you three, Zirson and Hafen and Emrys. And Kaelwyn is kind of getting ready to go to bed, but he's still up and was kind of organizing his books and looking through some of his papers.
Well, let's talk to Kaelwyn quickly.
All right.
We don't mean to keep you up, sir, but
I'm gonna take it to another channel for reasons. So
All right.
if you are in the common room, um, then please go ahead and follow me to that channel. All right. Um, so we'll just say that you guys that Hafen kind of um, comes forward and it's sort of the lead on that, and you two kind of pull up a spot near the fire, but are in range to listen and interject if you choose to. That way, it doesn't feel like he's completely surrounded by people.
Sure.
And uh, friendly fellow, very affable. As you go, Hafen was it?
Yes, Kalowin.
Good to have some
Glad you're
quiet
still.
time to chat a little bit. I think I might enjoy this conversation.
Certainly, it's we've been on the road a long time with the same companions. With new people are always fun to chat with new ideas and having been exciting places.
So you keep strange company, Happen. I've never met her personally, but I am sometimes close to the court and to the halls of Tashel, and I recognize the heraldry, and that's the Earl of Neth's adopted daughter, as I recall. That's Bridget Crow, is it not? The Lady Bridget, the Lady Knight.
Dame Bridget, indeed, indeed. I actually know the Crows from years back, and I'm just helping. I know the Telda as well, and so I'm helping kind of scout some um, concerns for the Crows in the northeast woods and wilds.
Huh. Did I mean, and if I pry, then then just let me know. I don't mean to do so. Um, were you sent by the crows into? I mean, that's all Telda occupied country now. Were you sent by? I, maybe I should ask. What business did you have up in the wilds of the Northeast? And again, if I overstep, then I apologize in advance.
Well, I don't. I between us, I will share because I expect it to be announced, and made a public thing that we've escorted some Loranians to reconsecrate some tombs at Zanoth as a service to the church. So some pious Loranians from whenever Zanoth was occupied have now been reestablished and cleared and are once again holy sites. And so that has been the main effort. Um, the Kuros kind of sponsored the excursion, and now was just a scout and escort for through the wilds to Xanoth for this um, religious pilgrimage for the Kuros to kind of take part in that. So I'm sure they'll be some appreciation or some kind of announcement by the Kuros and or Loranian Church about the efforts. So I don't mind telling you, but I would say don't steal their thunder.
No,
Don't you can share it later, but let them have the first public announcement of it.
sure, sure. Yeah, that's not. I mean, I just how much do you believe that? Like that's their only purpose? What do you think?
Oh, I there may have been other purposes as well, but I've not been able to shake them out, to be honest.
All right.
Do you have any ideas?
Well, I have not told you enough of myself, perhaps, but
Is what is your position at court? How do you know of?
I'm a
I mean,
litigant.
Dame Bridget, I guess, is
That's that,
public,
that
but
that's all. I'm just a litigant. I take cases. I argue in the courts. But this is probably rather unusual. I'm a Teldin originally.
Yes, I don't know a lot of Telden litigants.
No, that's that's fair to say. I dare say I'm the only one. No, I am. He kind of leans in. I came by this because I was a quick study as a young man, and some of the elders thought that maybe doing things,
Sorry, just getting some water.
maybe doing things um, the way that they are done in the kingdoms might work for the Telda. I, maybe I'm being too cryptic. Um,
No, I think I understand. I mean, it's Telden to be keen, to be ken, to know the skills and practices that will help you survive and help you in the world. I think I want to say Abara, but that's not the whole.
and make
Um,
a make a check. He's already doing that.
uh, Awareness.
Yeah, he's looking around, make sure nobody's eavesdropping on you.
Yep, sure. Hmm.
Um, well, Ted's the one who's doing it because you're engrossed in conversation. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Well, out of my back of my head, I can. All
Ted,
right.
you
Sorry.
can't tell. Everybody's just kind
Okay.
of wrapped in their cloaks, so you really can't tell.
Um, right. But I was. Oh, was it Telden? Um, Alwyn. I said the wrong name. Alwyn is a Telden. Many, legend of sorts that taught them many skills, brought certain canny expertise to the Telda. So I think learning the
Malcolm, come
Caldoric
here.
way is quite clever. Not many tribes have tried, but that's
And here's
not a bad strategy.
and there's even more purpose than that. So he kind of moves his little candle aside, and he lays out a piece of parchment. So this is from a fragment of Telden script, and it is still in the old Telden. Do either of you? He looks at the three of you. Have the ability to
Malcolm, come
read this
here.
script?
I can do current Telda script.
Close enough. You'll
I don't know
probably be able
about
to pick it
old.
up.
No, Telden's not one of mine.
Would it be script like Telden or script something else?
It would be it'd be I mean, you'd have to know the script, which is they use the same script largely, but you have to know the language Telden. And if you know Old Jaran, you'd have a chance at it too.
I actually know the Telden script and old Jarnese.
Okay. Zerson, what you got?
I don't have old Jarn. I have Jarnese, Harnick, Sindarin, Orbelise,
Okay.
and many scripts. Solarian, Lackey's, Runic.
I'll show it to you, but it'll be very hard for
Run
you to read
upstairs in my
using current
bathroom,
Jaran.
and in the middle it
Ted,
should be my
using
ring.
current Jaran.
Yeah.
I'll
Fast
go
you
ahead
go
because
up,
you guys
fast
probably
you
just
back
follow
down, you'll be
So I will,
faster.
I will
Sorry,
show
old Jarn.
I will show you guys this. It is now appears it now appears in your journals.
Hurry up! I'm watching the Browns game.
And if one of you will read it out loud, just so that the listening audience can hear what it says. It is Fragment in Telden Script, is what it's called in your journals.
Yes, I've found
And
it.
theretofore did Kinwin. Oh,
Wait,
go ahead, Ted.
one at a time.
So, and there,
You got it, Ted. You got a better voice.
and theretofore did Kinwin, being the son of Sephrodwid, both regarded well by the Seadan, and by that esteemed, retained, and protected the worlds of the Longbeards in their gift to the people. But knowing that his time was short, as is the fate of all men, and that knowledge and lore can perish or can be misunderstood, Kinwin did place the word of the gift in the adobe and the abode of the fallen brothers, there to sit, and with him to wait until the promise of both could be fulfilled.
You guys kind of read that over, and he says, "What do you think of that?"
There's a little bit of
I
drift in the
apparently have no
wording.
opinion because history doesn't work well for me. Apparently,
You can think on your own though. So
yes, yes.
So, gift in the abode of the fallen brothers. It's Kinwin. My interpretation is, and this is coming from a woodsman who knows nothing of the sort of these things and who just thinks long, fantastical thoughts from time to time as I'm alone in the woods, but that this Kinwin folk um, had respect of Sindayam sounds like Sindarin, the elder races, Longbeards, perhaps Kuzdal, right? Had learned something from them, but knew that he wouldn't be able to pass it on in his short lifetime, and so he wrote it down, and it now is recorded somewhere in the abode of the fallen brothers, wherever that is.
well,
Um,
the Sayadin are a they're they're a they were a tribe of Telda that have since been
well,
absorbed by other tribes. So that's
sure.
fair. um,
So fantastical things, like I said, fairy tales and such in the woods. But the Longbeards, I think maybe I'm closer to the mark on, and
I
that
think you are. I think
um,
that the Longbeards probably is clearly a reference to the Kustal. So it is our my belief, and was a belief held by some of the elders that the words of the Longbeard and their gift refers to a formal grant of land to the Telda um, at some point in the past history, uh, pre-Kaldor grant, um, time of the Battle of Sorrows, or some earlier period of time. And the the abode of the fallen brothers, and this is what I was researching and have been researching in Kaldor and Tashel. Um, this is in a Cerulindian manuscript, which I'll show you now. Show Marcus too. Sorry, Marcus. Um, there you are. And he pulls out another. This is hand copied. I could not take the book itself, but this this fragment was also. I think that these two intersect, um, and that they meet at this point. That the Cerulindian kingdom is from 185 um, current reckoning. So a fair amount of time ago, um, it is my belief that the Telden lineage that protected this tablet had done so for a number of years, but eventually felt that they needed to basically preserve this fragment by entombing it someplace, and preserving it. And so that is what I believe this the second fragment is referring to. Not directly to the manuscript, but to the tomb and the place that it was put. If you and one of you can at this point read that one out loud as well, or I'll do it.
Having pillaged, burned, and ravaged the land, in even then vainly involving their sun god who denied them alternate victory. The terrible oaths they made bout them to
Oh,
bout
there should be bound. Should be
bout
bound.
them, yeah,
Bound them to the
bound,
fate.
yes,
Yep.
bound them to this fate until a just cause would rise again, enabling them to fall once more on the battlefield, this time for all eternity.
So
So this is a tomb with undead things in it.
well, I mean, yes, but not in the same fashion that Morgathians are. They are, were these fragments to be believed, that they are bound there by their own their own oaths and words. So I believe that. Well, in the sunrise, we could take a look. Uh, let me see what Bridget wants.
So they bound themselves to it.
Yes, I mean, if the words are to be believed, yes. But so this tomb is here, in fact. Um, uh, at the sunrise, you'll see it. It's near at hand. It's here in Naniom. As far as I can tell, it has been ignored and untouched for over 500 years. And this, if this tap, do you see what I'm getting at? He looks at you. He looks at all of you. Do you see my point that I have with this? Hafen, do you understand where I'm going with this? It's getting kind of excited and animated.
You
Uh,
expect this was at Nanium because of the ghost stories about the ghosts here.
well, there is a barrow outside of Naniom Bridge,
Well,
so
there's many barrows, but perhaps we could. I mean, if you'd like to investigate, we
I am not.
certainly wouldn't mind taking our leisure for a day to help
Well,
you out. I mean,
but
Are you
I'm
this
asking
is
us to
concerned
help
there's
you?
but this is my concern. You see,
And it would be
well,
good to have a
you see,
knight with us, wouldn't it?
that's my concern is that these lands that we're speaking of, um, the point is that if in modern Caldoran courts, if this tablet exists that has the words of the Longbeards and their gift, truly contains the grant of land from the Kuzdul to the Telda, and if the Kuzdul will support that in a court, then as I believe it should be, all the lands north of the the Nephin River, um, the lands that you just came from, which have always been in a bit of a state of flux between the Telda and Kaldor, by a righteous claim, the kingdom of Kaldor should recognize, because the Kuzdul will stand by their word, should recognize the legitimacy of the Teldan claim and relinquish the lands to our sovereignty. But I just want to know before I get too deep into this, and I'm not even sure if I want to enlist your assistance, because you have with you a member of the household who primarily claims those lands. I know that Crow fancies himself a descendant of the Tanes and the Tanes and the Cerelindians. What is she, is she does she have enough lore to understand this? Is my question.
I lore maybe not, but maybe maybe there's something to this. I'm concerned that Caldor, would it not serve their purposes, they would balk at it and not, being the Silver Way being dangerous and um, fraught with accidents. If something were to come from the Kuzdul, and if they took a stance on it, the communication might not be thorough. Um, but so this can't be the only evidence, the only force to make something like that happen. This would be quite an unprecedented acknowledgement of Caldor acknowledging tribal rights and lands,
No, you
right?
see,
Um,
I am not. I'm trying to place my faith, if it exists at all, not just in that Teldon's making this claim, but backing it up with the word of the Longbeards. Let's see if they come forward and they testify to the authenticity of the claim. and they've remained the sovereigns of their kingdom, whereas Kaldor has gone through lineages and schisms and civil wars, but they have remained uh, uninterrupted, right? They to them this period of time, these last 500-600 years, is nothing to them. Is nothing to them. Um, and I believe they would support our claim. And
Well, I'm not convinced that Caldor would listen to them. You'd think they would, but unless there's silver in it, I'm not sure Caldor will. So I think you have a point. I think, but it's a one leg. It won't stand on its own. You need another leg or two.
You could make the same argument about the Jaran lands to the north.
Oh,
Could you not?
I don't believe the Orbalese won't listen to anybody about their land other than an axe or a sword. That's somewhat of a different problem, and they're not coming at it legally. So the question is, can we knit
Understood,
together?
but this land has been ruled by this group for this long, and another group who has some sort of claim to it from the the, the dawn of time, or from a
Essentially,
while
yes.
ago, is coming out and saying this is our land. However, there's already someone who is maintaining it and making sure that the people there are living in peace relative,
Well,
and yeah, so
no,
where's the legal position for that? Like, we're just going to throw you out and put a
no,
new.
Emrys,
I'm sorry,
we
I'm not a solicitor.
yeah, we assume, and this is kind of an assumption, that the land we're talking about is currently inhabited by the Telda. It's just also contested by Caldor, and Caldor has expansionist plans to take it sooner or later.
yeah, and I think that's an
Right,
important point. Hillman
right.
says, I
Oh,
we're not
so you'd
as
need to find this quickly, otherwise they're going to move forward. This
Well,
gives
quickly on a
more argument
long,
against on a Longbeard time scale. Yes.
yeah. I mean, within our lifetimes as humans would be quick enough, I think. Caldor has no immediate plans, but just a general expansionist attitude. And if we find this, then yeah, maybe it's enough to pressure them to expand elsewhere first, and Telden last, if ever. I suppose would be the point.
I mean, it
Um,
is we are not at this point. The argument would not at this point uproot any current settlements that Kaldor has. It would merely
right.
prevent future ones and end the border skirmishing and the loss of life that occasionally happens with that.
I'm not a man of
Um,
politics, but I don't see words on a tablet stopping any expansion.
well, it's if the Azadmir Kuzdol say yes, those are our words and they're true, right? If they're like, we'll cut off trade or come with axes and mail and plate armored foot soldiers and back up those words if you disrespect them or treat them as false, right?
So
That's
this would
But they haven't
what.
respected him
plausibly.
this long.
Well, they may have forgotten or lost their words, right? That's the thing.
So at
No.
That is a concern. We would have to take this to the Kuzdol after we find it and have them agree or ratify it in front of Caldoric politicians or heralds or someone.
And
I just
But
don't know men of power easily giving it up, and I could see this easily leading to bloodshed unintended.
but I will point out
Dame
though,
Bridget is a knight. She thinks about what's right. So I think that you're underselling her.
I'm not speaking
Well,
of her specifically.
no,
also I will
I
also point
know.
out there's something else that as I look into this fragment, the one that I found in the Tashel archives, that I believe that for the right cause, that the brothers who are currently sleeping, the ones who made the terrible oaths and are waiting their final rest, would probably owe somebody a favor.
Hmm,
Really?
well,
As in
Bridget does talk to
someone
ghosts.
who. Hmm.
Well,
Don't get
I
me
mean,
wrong, I'm very intrigued and do want to seek this out.
terrible. I mean, as I read here,
yeah,
They bound them to their fate until a just cause would rise again, enabling them to fall once more on the battlefield, this time for all eternity. So, as I read it, and it could be read different ways, I suppose, and it has been translated several times, but we're one to believe in these things. Maybe if there was ever a need for a small, and I do not know how many are in there, but the barrel mound is not small. Um, a cohort of unliving soldiers at the for a just cause. Maybe it could be something that would be useful to someone at some point. I'm just
Like a Jarin rebellion to
uh,
take back the North?
he
Well,
looks at you. Well, that I suppose if you
you've been drinking, my friend. Oh boy, have you been drinking.
Well, they're
Um,
going to rise
uh,
again. It's just a matter of time. This would, oh, and the lady could lead them. And then she could
uh,
forego all these lands and control those lands.
okay,
How
okay.
about that?
Settle down. Settle down. You've never heard her speak of anything near of that sort.
But look at her. She's Jarin. You know it. She has the look.
I know her lineage
She's a
better
just
than
person.
most,
she's
but
totally a
that's
she's totally
not.
a judge.
Yep. Just like me.
But that's neither here nor there. Yes, for a pitched battle, perhaps that kind of miraculous help would be advantageous, but you can't win a war with that.
Why not?
Anyway,
It would cause all of the Jarin to rise.
Well, Caitlin says
okay.
I will
Now you're freaking out the litigant.
I will leave you with those thoughts, and I would before um,
Yes.
enlisting your assistance find out whether how it come how the Dame Bridget would take it, and
Yes. Let us.
how much you would wish to even reveal to her.
We should we should reveal that there are oaths and potentially promises in the past that should be upheld, involving the Longbeards and Teldin and the future of Karose and really Kaldor lands to the northeast, right? And I think she'd like to do right by everyone, um, including the Teldins and the Longbeards. So
Hmm? It
I
just
think
depends
it's
on
fair
how
to give this to her.
eh, I will then give you
You
this
do the
note of
same thing
caution.
in here.
Um,
You got a comfy chair.
I am concerned that, and I think Zirson is probably the most perceptive. Well, not the most perceptive amongst you, but perhaps the most realistic in some ways. Um, should someone who wishes for this possible claim to be eliminated, then I would
Not
be in
right
a
now,
bad
bud.
position. So I would just ask that you exercise some caution, and if you feel if that this will come to naught, then to just let it go easily and let me go about my business, since I don't believe that any of you here, you three, owe any fealty to the Kuros. He looks at each of you to confirm that.
Not I.
Right.
Not
So
specific.
I
I owe
would.
my fealty to Ilvir.
So I will
Oh,
just.
the Earl of Neff owes me favors.
Well, but still, my concern would be that if there was some if people in power knew that I was pursuing this and had some concern that it might work, the easier thing to fight it in court would just to find me dead in the river. If you follow what I'm saying.
Oh, indeed. I've known Neff and is like long enough to know that that's absolutely true. We'll leave your name out of it, and just I've been asking about miners and such. You know, this is a ghost
Everybody,
story that miners tell.
everybody appears to be sleeping, Ted. That was your check. All right. I will leave it to you then, and I I'm here
Thank
just scouting. I did not intend to make any digs at this time, but if the opportunity presented itself, I would. Um, but I would come back at some point in the future with some mercenaries and some laborers if I had to. So I was not here intending to do
Kellen,
anything just yet, but go on.
perhaps it's fortuitous. Give us a day. We need to shake loose the Luranian Knights anyway, I believe. Our business with them is conducted, having resanctified the burials. Um, so yeah, give us till mid morning tomorrow, and we'll tell you if we're departing or if we can spend a day or more with you and help you in this. But yes, let's discuss it with Bridget and um, Sir Aidan.
We'll
They're
then
quite the pair.
we'll then go to the next channel, and
Yes. Are you guys looking? Are you guys sleeping?
Well, that's you guys next time.
Can you keep it down, please?
I was good. I would like to go outside under the moonlight and prayer and ritual to Sienna.
Oh, yes. Thanks for reminding me.
Yes, master.
Is that a check, or are we just taking a piety? We're checking.
make a ritual check first.
Ah, nuts.
Oh. All right, Matt, you do not gain skill checks for that. So daily rituals do
Yep.
not give you that.
Yep.
All right.
Five. That's fine.
Who's awake and who's asleep when you guys arrive? Bridget, are you asleep?
I mean, I was.
I think that let's just say you guys all go to bed and then decide how it's going to be handled in the next morning.
Well, Kellen and the guy. This has made me nervous enough. I'm gonna sleep in the big room. I think.
Just to make sure.
Yeah. Don't want
Right.
anybody in and up.
I'll join you there. I'm more comfortable in that type of environment anyway.
All right, Zirison and Half and
But
go to bed there.
we'll tuck in Amorous, I guess.
Oh.
All right, so we'll set the
Because I
clocks
want to wake
for-
up early enough to preach to people while they're having breakfast.
That's a good alarm clock for me.
Guess I'm not completely asleep based on a random roll. But if no one says anything or brings up attention,
going back to
I
sleep.
just, whatever. Enough
Right.
troubles will find us tomorrow. I'm not worried
Yeah,
about it.
Peasants were up too late, being surly and ornery and plotting rebellion. Sure. Sorry, Knight.
It's actually plotting and scheming.
All right, so you guys all crawl into bed. Emrys wakes up the next morning, and while people are groggily getting up and having some bread and a bit of cheese, Emrys, make that oratory roll. You can check that later. Get that about 50%. Have a chance.
Hey, over breakfast, I still need to do my forget on the Loranians about the silver mine. I just need to.
I think we determined that the amount of time that spell works would just not be effective.
Not even a day.
Well, right, but I think it's enough to confound
I think when you
their
looked at
group
it,
memory.
I think it's more like you have to pass on them so that they just forgot you were there like immediately, but it's not. It isn't something you can make them forget. I don't think.
Right, it's more of like a crime happened last night. Witnesses don't remember in the morning, right? The details. So when the sheriff comes by to ask them, they don't know. But then maybe they remember it later on.
Yeah, it's your
Right,
it's your
because
Whoa. There was a crime last night?
No, this is for instance. This is about how my spell works. Because it lasts for a day or possibly 3 days.
This is your
is
Men in Black.
all.
This is your Men in Black thing, right?
Yeah, right. It
Wow.
is. But on the off chance that that it works, and two that they talk about it today. I don't want them to remember it. So it's just
Oh,
a
yeah, you want them to
like
talk about it someplace that's not here.
yeah. I mean, I guess if they go back home and talk about it, I can't do anything about it. But
You were trying to see whether you could make them leave without you at this point, weren't you? Kind of.
yeah, but I mean, then for the rest of the day, I know they're
I
not
mean,
gonna.
Faradir is up. He's checking on his horses. He's making up all intentions of leaving.
Yeah, and so if he
Ah,
gets
it was a good night's sleep. I feel like I am well rested, and we will
right,
be on our way then, right? He looks at Bridget.
Let's do it.
All right.
well,
Get
we're
a
parting ways, are we not? Or are we? Because you're going, and we were gonna go.
Yeah, I thought we were.
Am I wrong?
Oh, his abbey that he is at is close to Gardirin. It's not too far away. He's still
Ah,
going the same direction. Yeah, they didn't haul him from like the depths of Kaldor. He's kind of local.
ah. Mm, mm. Are we
Well,
leaving today?
Hafen has this look, Bridget, like he
Oh,
seems antsy. I'll make you.
I
You can
have a
make
wound on my neck and my chest and my shoulder. I can't travel today. I'm wearing myself out. I'm getting old.
What?
The rush of just
Okay.
the last day.
It would
The
be
first
better.
march was
It would be better
too much
to
on
wait
me.
for a few days.
Bridget, make an intrigue roll, please.
Yes. Sorry, hold on. I clicked on something and then it opened up like half a page of HTML code for some reason. So just
That
give
again.
me 1 second.
Hit F12
That,
again.
do you want my opposed rhetoric or oratory or?
No. Well, she's just. I don't think it's opposed. She's just trying to read. What that you are. Okay. Well, good. Look at that. You can check that as a skill. Um, Hafen doesn't want to leave.
He doesn't want to leave right now.
He appears to not want to leave.
Okay, so I pull him aside and I ask him what's up. Like, why are you hesitant to leave? We have stuff to do.
Faradir is like getting his horses together and packing his
Oh,
stuff. They're down the stables right now. They're pretty far away. But
right. Well, Faradir has
but,
things
but
to
Muley,
do.
Muley the Faithful is right here though.
Muley too.
Muley too,
Thank you.
because he's not
So
worth having a real name.
there's a local legend involving the Telda, the Longbeards, and history of this area that I dug up last night, um, and I think it bears a few hours investigation and discussion. Faradir, he can go. I mean, we don't need to escort him through the well patrolled roads and things of the kingdom. But I was wondering if we could have a day here to look into this legend to maybe better secure the Telda protecting the ruins that we just sanctified. We could
Hmm.
connect some dots and make this a longer lasting effort.
Why is this so important?
Hmm. Well, I mean, we could come back later, I suppose, but we're here now, and it seems opportune. But if you want to report
Doing
back,
Max.
certainly we can do it later if that's what you want.
I really need to see my father, but do you think if we don't address this issue, that all the work that we did will be for naught?
No, it's not. Nothing life or death will happen today. It's simply something that should happen this season, I
Hmm.
suppose.
Things
Before the
left
legend gets cold.
undone often aren't taken back up until it's much too late.
Yes,
Oh
Ilvira
boy.
notices patterns.
So what's this legend? Give me the abridged version, please.
Oh, yeah. To sum up, there may be a buried tablet granting land, this area to a group. of humans that the Teldon potentially that would therefore help them. If that was a legitimate claim and this was their land to hold, they could better protect Zanoth and the things we did. Then they wouldn't have folks like Romlock or others doing excursions into their territory that they'd have to worry about
Sold.
Caldoric activity and split their group, guarding the Caldoric border versus guarding it from Gargans and other nastiness at Xanoth.
If it can keep Rocklock off the land, I'm down.
Okay, cool. I mean, I don't know his specific plans, but but
Thank you for the
some like
supper.
him, yes,
It was good.
expansionist knights that are looking for a fight, indeed. Okay, well let's just
Do
we'll
what you
talk
need
more
to
about it.
do.
Well, we'd like your assistance with this, Dame. You're a
Of course.
good leader and a great valued combatant. And I'm wounded and don't feel well and traveling today. So let us reconvene after seeing off Faradir and his men at arms, and we can investigate further today.
That sounds fine, but I really need to get back to my father as soon as possible, so let's not delay.
Around that time, Faradir, who is at this point mounted up, all of their things packed, comes trotting by on their horses and gives you all kind of a long look. Happen, Bridget. Excuse me, I do not mean to be so familiar. Lady Bridget, are we not on the way?
Not yet. There's a concern for the area we need to see to first.
Does it require extra men? He looks over at Jordy and Saden.
I don't think so.
Right, Father Faradir. I'm gonna approach him. Put my hand on his, I don't know, hand, on his reins, and kind of say, "Yo, the road is yours, sir. We can manage this without you. This is simply political and kind of guild economic matters that the Kuros would want to look into."
He said he had an upset stomach. I said he ate a lot of treats.
It's silent prayer.
All right, and making them forget what?
Oh, that we went to the silver mine.
Okay, and that'll last for 3 days if he resists.
He does get a will check at 2x.
At 2x. All right. All right. Remember to just use the alphabet. I got so many entries in here. His will is a 14. It's not bad.
Not bad. He's got a chance. Oh. All right. Nope. He's a stubborn guy. All right.
All right.
He's got it. I did what I could.
That is in fact a critical success on that will check. So
it is. He forgot nothing.
He will never forget that silver mine.
Shit. Damn it.
All right. Well then, if yes, we can in fact make our way back. We should be there if we definitely put the spurs to the horses. We should be there by nightfall, I should think. So, men.
Certainly, you and your men perfectly capable of traveling on your own. You can find your way from here.
Actually, they will not make it because the men are on foot. So he is riding and they are walking because that is the fate of soldiers. So, but
walking everywhere.
But he does not seem concerned. If you happen, and Lady Bridget, if you have concerns here that will lead you for another day, I will leave them to you. I feel, and Hafen, I appreciate your wisdom and guidance upon the road, and I feel that without you, our mission would not have been successful. And he gives a little polite courtesy bow, and off they trot.
Oh, I'll help the Loranians at any point. Remember that the Teldons may help as well. guard your holy sites.
Put in a good word for them. Let me throw them in my place for NPCs. Boop, there they are.
Put
Okay,
them in your Rolodex.
just in case they come back. All right, so they're gone. Like after 5 minutes, they're already crossing the bridge. See them out the look out the across the river, and you see them on the other side. Bridget, Sir Aiden, anybody wish to say anything? Anybody?
I'm waving.
Good.
I'm waving at the guys. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
I wish them farewell.
I look around. Do I see this mound that he was talking about?
Oh, I'll move you to the map. Sure. Let's do that.
Thank you.
Sorry there, Bridget. I didn't mean to step on you. Did you want to say something as their Lonians are going?
I'm still trying to figure out why we're here, still staying behind. So.
No.
So you guys are right here. The Loranians are working their way down the Silver Way off that direction there, and rising slightly above the trees, but mostly obscured by them, there is a large sort of oval shaped mound of dirt.
Isn't
Is
that
what I'm
the
pinging it.
isn't that the place where the
That one.
we spent vigil the night before? Uh, Dame Bridget's coronation.
But that was in Gardiran.
Oh,
No. Yeah.
That was.
There's lots of
place.
little sacred mounds and burial things around. And there was a big stone sword where she kept her
Yeah.
vigil. This is just a mound.
we can go up there. I don't care.
Right. Well, let's talk about this first because, Dame Bridget, you need to make a decision on if this is more important than reporting to your father today, or if your father's pleased to wait a day. Perhaps
If
this
this will
will be
only
better.
take a day, it's fine.
Okay.
But after that, no more distractions.
All right. So, the legend, the rumor that we heard amongst the folk last night is that there's an old. I assume we have a private kind of spot in the middle of the bridge or wherever where nobody else can overhear the party, right? But we're all saying goodbye, so we're all here, right?
Okay. Yeah, you can find a spot. I'm not gonna.
Emerus and Aiden and Zerson. And Dame, of course, I'm talking to. She's the main one. I want to have your understanding of this. That it's something that you want to do or not, because it's it somewhat depends on your father's and clan's plans for the area, right? That the legend pertains to the area north of the Neff, where Zanoth is, I guess, still the forest, right? The Telden own it currently, or occupy it, and what we find would be a legal backing them up to keep it longer. It would prevent expansionist knights, some that might be doing bidding of the higher nobility, like earls and such, to expand and slaughter and take the land for Caldor. But if there's legal reasons to prohibit that, frankly, they'll go elsewhere. Right? They won't focus on the Telda, and the Telda can live in peace and guard Xanoth and fight the Gargan and such. To keep them away.
If the Telden have legal claim to land, and this would show that, then I'd rather we find it so we don't waste any Caldor lives trying to take land that's not ours.
Sounds good. All right. Let me find or Zerson. Can you find Kelwin?
Sure, I can look around.
You find him, and he comes out. You saw. I think you guys saw them chatting a little bit the night before. Um, he's dressed like a middle class city dweller. He has a tunic with a robe over it. He has a necklace that has a you recognize it, Bridget, as a um, somebody who is admitted to the courts of Caldor as a litigant. Um, so he has some middle class kind of station. Um, looks vaguely jarring in his appearance, but dressed in a very Harnick, tassel, modern fashion. Appears to be in his late 40s, early 50s, and he has a satchel of books in his hands, and he makes a great bow and extends all courtesies to you and Sir Aidan. My dame, Lady Bridget, is a most auspicious and pleasurable occasion to be in your presence. And how may I be of service to you and your kinfolk? You
I would
understand
like
it's more
to.
of a polite thing than an actual call to be of service, but you understand.
Right. Yeah, I just simply, direct him to assist one of my trusted uh, party members, Hafen.
I will be my pleasure to assist Hafen in this endeavor. And he kind of motions to, well, he says, but first we might need some tools, and fortunately, we are here at a mercantiler who can probably provide some of them. Some shovels and pickaxes would be in order. Although a few advanced in years, I can still perform some manual labor, and well, I will see what I can procure here. And he wanders into one of the buildings there, and comes back a few moments later, a little empty of coin, but dragging behind him um, a couple shovels and picks. These,
I didn't think this through. I didn't want to go digging today. Wait a minute.
oh, I'm sorry, I thought that's why we were here.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking of the goal, not the sweat. All right, let's do it.
Ah, memories.
Now, good point there. You're quite adept at digging into this stuff, aren't you, Zerson?
Should be.
You guys, oh yeah, your chantry is all about mining and foundering and that kind of thing. All right,
Right.
so you shoulder these picks, you walk across the Naniom Bridge, and shockingly close to the Silver Way, you work your way through a couple hundred feet of forest, and there is a large green mound that is right smack dab in the middle of this small copse of woods. Above you to the north, there is a rocky outcropping um, that kind of casts a bit of a shadow across you. Well, it's on the north, so I probably wouldn't do that. But in the virtual shadow of this cropping is where this mound sits. Um, if you want to make a history roll, kind of to see how old this thing is, just kind of get a feel for it. Anybody who has that skill?
Can we all do it?
Yeah, history would probably be the one that
History.
history, lore,
Or
history.
folklore?
I mean, don't
Emrys
we-
or Zerson maybe have it. I don't.
Looking for like actual
I
cult
do.
history.
Yeah, if yeah, lore history. I would probably give it
Oh,
to you
there
if
it
you
is.
don't
I
have
see.
it.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I like
And
lore
that's
skills.
not under communication skills.
So not folklore.
Yeah, just lore history.
Oh,
Okay. I
leave
found it.
it.
You
If
probably
there's
don't
an
have
herb growing on it and it takes a certain amount of time, I can tell you that.
it. Zerson,
Um, no.
yeah, this thing is probably over 500 years old.
As old as Hafen, I think.
Not as old as Hafen.
Yeah, come
Oh, I'm
on.
sorry. Not as old as Hafen. I apologize.
I was there.
I'm not. No. No,
I'd
it
say it's at
wasn't.
least 500 years old.
That sounds about right, says Caitlin. If you look at this, he kind of circles around to the east side. You can see there's a stone arch. It's packed with earth. That's and I am surprised that this has remained undisturbed this long, as close as it is to people. But it has always had a reputation, and I suppose that grave robbing is something that is often frowned upon. So I will appreciate that it has remained undisturbed this long. He he stands in front of the stone mound and mutters a long string of very old Jaran Telden words in a kind of a ritual prayer. It's the first words of that language that you've heard him speak since you've been around him. But he slips into it quite easily, and his voice kind of takes on a melodic, lilting quality as he as he as he goes back to an old tongue he hasn't spoken in some time, but slips back into it very easily, and then stands up, says, "I have asked the spirits to forgive our entry, and have explained that our need is great, and hopefully that will be enough to not anger them."
He's not feeling
Emrys, don't
well.
look so offended.
He's upstairs in his room.
I think he's like cussing out the. I'm not. Okay.
I'm not sure if he said what
Very
he thinks
strange.
what he's saying he said.
I'm not sure he's. I'm not sure he's saying
All
what
right.
he thinks he's saying. Yes, I think it's.
Well, I think he's the expert. So, take some turns
Oh.
digging. Do we
Oh, I
have any
see.
idea of
Hmm.
in the middle, on the edges? Should there be a door that we're looking for?
On the east side, he points out there is a stone arch, and it
Oh,
still
and we're
stands
excavating
out.
that.
We are excavating inside the arch.
Okay,
It should
not
go
so bad.
about. It's packed earth. Right now, it's all grass and brush. But once we get past that, probably about 10 feet in, we should reach. Once we clear that, we should reach a door. And beyond that, it should probably be open unless it's collapsed within, which is possible, I suppose. In which case, this is probably all for naught. But it does not
Right.
look it does not look subsided from the top, so my hopes are still strong.
Indeed. Well, us
Alright.
peasants will
Um,
dig first.
I start digging. It's good exercise.
That's right. Make some condition checks for me. Digging is hard work. All right, Zerison, you're
Can
doing
I
fine.
help dig?
You can if you want to get your ladylike hands dirty.
Zerson is well built for digging and walking.
She's a knight.
And
Oh, look at that. Something I didn't fail at.
You're not just digging. You're got buckets hauling away dirt, displacing it, moving it
I don't
around.
think you gave me dig.
I just said make a condition check. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Foundation.
Zerson's only good at it as long as he fits in the
So
hole.
roll.
All
At a
right.
certain stage, I'm the only one that fits
Wow.
in the hole.
I cannot believe I failed that.
All right. So
No.
Sir Aiden and
I
Dame
have the
Bridget
papers.
take.
Who the hell just said that? Who the hell just said that shit?
We're having.
Was it you, David?
During the digging, eventually Bridget has to tap out. Sir Aiden struggles through it. Each of you, you take 1 fatigue point, and Sir Aiden takes 2.
I feel like that's more like falling in the hole. Like tripping and falling in the hole, but whatever.
You got tired and disoriented and fell in the hole.
Yeah.
Right, so you guys each take you take 2 fatigue points, and Sir
Fatigue
Aiden will
point.
take 1. Everybody else is fine. And after a good,
Oh,
there's
okay.
a lot of backs going into this, so you got a lot of man hours at work here. So it doesn't take too long. Once you get past the first layer of brush and stuff, it kind of begins to loosen up and it gets a bit more crumbly.
Oh,
And
good.
you
Yeah, the roots bind things together. The,
you do finally clear your way to an old door set about 10 feet back into this. Let me grab all of you guys and put you someplace. Nobody's dark. Who has a light?
I can work on
Not
that.
me.
I'll set your lights up before you go in. All right, who has a light? Tell me.
I had one of those funny stone things, but that probably
trying to
died
make a
yesterday.
glowstone. Oh man.
Oh,
It didn't work
man.
for me either.
Hafen
Nope.
has glowstones, does he?
Well, I
Not
tried.
now. You have to use conventional lights, I suppose.
Does Muley have torches on him?
Yeah, Muley has torches and
We
lanterns
do
and
have some
stuff.
torches left over.
Break out some torches.
All right.
Or a mirror? Do we have something shiny enough to be a mirror?
You can try to reflect light in. It's very clever.
Yeah.
Kalen will take a torch. So I'll take one. I do torches, do 20 feet of low light.
I'll hold a torch for everyone too, because
I'll do 30 feet. 30 feet of low light.
And not the whole.
Kalen has one, and Zierson will have 30 feet of low light. Okay. I will save those settings. Bridget, no light. Emrys, what are you going to be carrying? You want a light? You got 2 torches. That's probably plenty.
I was gonna use, yeah. So I'll just use a torch.
All right. I'm going to load you guys into.
I still have blood loss on my injury tables.
It takes a while to go away.
It does take a while. Okay. I lost a lot of blood. I did donate the I did a double red donation the other week, and it hit me a lot harder than it usually does.
Well, you are.
Sometimes you're just not up for it.
You donated a lot more blood during this than you did there. All
To
right.
the ground.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
All right. I got you guys overlapped a little bit, but I'm gonna move you to this page.
When I was doing more endurance running, I could do it without really feeling much of anything. But that one, nope. I was funny for a few days.
All right. All right. Who's gonna open the door?
Zerus will do it if nobody else wants to. Let's make it do it holding a torch to light up the way as we go.
Might take a bit of muscle to get past it.
For strength, or
Yeah, do you have strength times 5? Zerus is strong though, as I recall.
fairly strong.
All right,
Yeah.
with a bit of effort. I mean, the door. I mean, the hinges and everything, as you can suspect, are just. Well, you get the idea. Let me see what you guys can see, because it is pretty creepy. So the door opens
I
into
don't
a.
see me.
You don't see who said that.
Oh wait, maybe I do. There I am. Okay, I see.
Okay. I'll put you up front. So Zierson, you see a long, because the barrow ran very long east to west, and you see a central corridor about 10 feet across. It is timbered and held in place by numerous wood timbers, and there's a sequence of alcoves on either side that goes down the length of it. And from where you can see in the flickering light, there are figures that are still in sort of an upright position. Um, they are dressed as if they are in battle regalia, but tribal Telden fashion. Um, they have like tattered remnants of leather armor, or some ring armor. Um, but they're not just flesh and bone. I mean, they're not just bone. They're have some. They still have some. Like their skin looks like it is sort of like partially mummified, like almost like one of those bog mummies, but drier. It is like compressed and is kind of brown and
Kids,
closely around their bones and sinews and whatever muscle still lies
who are you
beneath.
looking for? Go
They are
look up in a
still,
room. Don't scream.
um, and it looks like maybe I don't know, looking at them, like maybe some of the tree sap from above has leaked into them. That maybe they've almost been like almost like amber has crept into their forms to for them to take on the shape that they're in. But it just stretches on in the dim light, on either side, alternating alcove after alcove with each of these long dead warriors inside.
I will creep in a little bit.
Feel free,
Yeah.
take a step.
I'm trying to. It won't let me move me. I think I'm stuck in a wall.
Okay.
Don't open the door.
Creep in a little bit and see if anything is recognizable other than that.
Nothing is moving. It is obviously very quiet.
I can't move forward either. So,
Okay. You can't. Who can?
David.
I think the he just has to get to that door.
I'll get you all through the door, and that way you're a little more freed up. Try to stay in a hex. There we go. I can take you off the hexes as well. That makes it a little easier. As you go forward, you realize just how long this is. I probably made it a little bit too long. How long did I make it? Yeah, I made it probably a little bit big. It's about 70 feet long from end to end. I made it a little bit too big when I made it. Yeah, I made
All
it
right.
100.
Kaelin, these are the fallen brothers that you've got a script on?
I believe so. Yes. Yeah, I went a little crazy when I made this. All right, it's a little shorter than this, and
That's okay. That's more
more fallen brothers.
more dead brothers. Yeah, that's a
I,
good
I
thing.
will I will say that each of them is dressed in battle armor, but it is long since decayed. In some places, it is still intact. I think I described it: ring armor, leather armor. At the feet of each of them, there is an urn, um, right between their feet, and they're all still standing. As you look in, they seem to be standing partially due to their forms now kind of having adopted this shape in death and mummification. But in places here and there, you can see where there was a wood um, frame that had originally been in place to hold them up. But even if the frame is gone, uh, they still remain in a standing position.
And they're all human height size.
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
Let's not disturb them, right? Everybody's on the same page with this?
Yes.
Sure.
Sure.
I made far too many. There's about 20 total, not the 40 or so I put in there by accident. A little ambitious with that.
Paste works well.
It does.
Well, I don't want to move too far from the ones in the back, so I'm going to stop.
Okay.
I can't move too far forward because I have no light.
I know.
Right.
I'm muted. I cannot move forward.
I
Can't move
found a
forward.
rock.
Tailwind stays with you. What is that? You reach the end, and so let's go ahead and move you up.
I think Ted's stuck in the wall.
That's stuck in a wall.
Hey, they're moving on us.
Ted is stuck in a wall. Yes.
That's unstuck. Here, let me
You're
take
imagining things.
Let me
They're
take you off
dead.
the. Hold on, let me
Oh,
take
I
you off-
can move now.
Let me take
Look
you
at
off the
that.
grid. Let me take the grid off.
How are you doing, Bridget? Your last time in a crypt like this shook you up a little, I thought. No?
I don't know what you're talking about.
So let's move forward and see if we can find this thing, and then we can get to her father.
Hold on. So go ahead and move up.
Whoa.
I'm just gonna move you guys there pretty quick. Hey, get back
It
in
won't
here.
let me go. Oh, there it goes.
At the end of this, there
Not a
is
There
long
you go.
corridor.
it is a long corridor. I made it a little bit too long. I said it several times. I mean it. There is a table, and on the table there is a clay tablet with Teldin script on it.
Old Teldon?
Yes, old Teldin. And the figure to the north,
Oh, not Jarnies.
obviously Kaelin is very interested in what he's seeing here. And the figure to the north, well, has within his arms, he has a stone tablet.
Hmm.
Are we really gonna Indiana Jones this thing?
Can I read anything on it?
No, we
John,
shouldn't need to
I don't
Indiana
think we need
Jones
to
it.
Indiana Jones it.
which one are you reading? The tablet on the table, Ted? That's a lot of T's.
Yes, the tablet on the table.
Ted.
Um, it is a spell or a ritual. Seems to
Oh.
be of Helden origin. Um, requires some sacred drums and burning herbs. Um, and it is a ritual to awaken the slumbering brothers.
Oh, look at this. This is for awakening the slumbering brothers. Huh.
So my advice would be to not waken
What
the
about...
slumbering brothers.
Oh, well, like, we don't have, like, the drums or all the other stuff, and we're not Teldon, so... What about the one that's in his arms? Is that something you can read, or we'd have to take it out of his arms to actually read it?
It's hard to read in his arms. His arms are kind of covering it. You can see a word here and there. It looks like it's written in two scripts. It's written in runic and Lakis, which is the usual Harnic script.
Oh.
I read both. Well, I know both of those.
You know the script, but you don't know the language.
Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Script keys.
Kaelin, do you want
so
to
you need to know
say
the
a few more
language too.
words before we pull this thing out of this guy's arms?
It probably is for the best.
I'd be
Again,
more
mutters
comfortable.
a little bit of old Teldin, exhorting the spirits and the dead not to take it the wrong way as we take things from their arms.
Yeah. Tell them we have a just cause, right?
A just cause is what they operate on, apparently. Emerson, the top script at the bottom is the one that's in Jarin, and it is again the top one is in runic, and it is in a language that you completely do not know. Even if you know runic script, the words make
Oh.
no sense to you at all.
Okay.
However, the bottom is in
Which would be the marginal failure. The marginal success, on the other hand.
well, no, the top. Okay, the top rune, the top. There's two sets of languages on this tablet. The top part
Oh, I
is in
misunderstood.
is in runic, and you look at the words even without a language check, and you do not know what language that is. It's like the words
Hmm.
you know the letters, but they're not making words that you understand at all.
I've
Um,
seen runic
Okay.
in Ivinian or Belize before,
yes,
and that's not that.
that is
The
not that.
same letters, different. That's not that.
That is not that. The bottom section, you what portions that you see do indicate that it is a grant of land from the Kuzdal to the people of the forest people of the south.
Oh, look. You're absolutely right. It is a land grant.
Well, Helen looked almost. I mean, he looks a little bit jubilant, but also like a bit also like he didn't even believe his own story. Like wow, I almost didn't.
Is he side eyeing Dame Bridget?
No, I mean not really. He's like I honestly I really expected to not find anything here.
Yeah. Well, look at that.
So is the top one in Clusen?
I don't.
I
I
don't know
don't
that
know.
script. Sorry, I can't help you.
Well, it's in
Nerson,
Rune.
have you come across Kuzin?
He has he had
Probably
a
should
Clusen.
have, but I don't have that.
Yeah, the dwarves are pretty secretive about their language. I mean,
What
to a degree.
kind of
Oh,
To a
dwarven.
degree.
what kind of Jamorvi mage doesn't
Probably should,
know?
but I don't have that.
You just there was a Clusen master, but you did not work with him directly.
Well, I think. Okay, what do we do with these, Kelvin? Do we take? Can we take them? Do we take them? Do we make rubbings somehow and take
Um,
that?
I think we need the original of at least the. I'm not sure what to do with that tablet. He looks at the one on the table.
I wouldn't want to leave that here in case it
I think
falls in
that
the wrong hands. Like,
the
uh,
one on the table.
yeah, like yours.
Okay.
I mean, I'm.
All right.
I,
So
I think we should
I'll. Can I take a
surrender that to
Can
the
I
Lord of
take a
the
rubbing
area.
of that and then stick it in my backpack?
If somebody will let you do that, sure.
That was a joke. That was a joke.
As I
I
trade
mean, I
places with whoever is standing in the square.
Oops.
all right. K-
Whoopsie.
All right,
would you think that
we should take.
your offices and spaces at the court of Taishal are the best place for these, or should they come with us to Earl of Neff and Corot's space? I'm sure there's
I would
some
implore you
spare
to let.
space you could.
I he kind of looks a little. Make an intrigue roll.
All of us or just him?
Just him. He he looks like he does not completely trust this going back with to Kuro. I would prefer that come with me. I it will.
Well, he
I
is
cannot
like
act on it
a
immediately. I need to
lawyer or
verify.
something like, right?
I need to verify the claim and perhaps travel to Azimir. But I would prefer that it be in my keeping for now. As to what to do with that, he kind of motions to the tablet on the table. I'm I am open to suggestions. I, this place has not been touched in 500 years. If we just repack it on the way out, let's just hope it remains the same.
No,
No, no, Seraden?
no,
So, can we take a rubbing of that? Would that
no. You
allow
may
us
not
to
take a look
actually
at
see what
Seraden
the?
is guarding it.
that.
Oh,
If anything, it should be
Oh,
destroyed so it
oh.
is not misused.
I'll
These
take a
people
sword for.
have been resting here for 500 years. They do not need to be brought out of their rest.
They've been
for-
resting here for a just cause.
Yeah, there's Aiden. I'm sorry, you've missed some of the script and the legend and the purpose of these warriors. They're not resting. In fact,
They're waiting.
Indeed.
Then, at this point,
And
it's either
that
Bridget or I who
brings
decide
them back for a
when they-
just cause.
They have. Caitlin says they've, in essence, they've been cursed by their own words to wait in an undeath state until they find a just cause, and then when they fall, when they fall in battle in that just cause, they will find their final rest. If the tablet's destroyed, they will hideously remain until the end of the world.
Oh, that's so messed up.
Does the tablet look brittle?
Not particularly. It's like brick. It's
So I've already
clay.
read this tablet, right?
You have. You're a pretty smart guy. I
Okay.
mean, you might have it memorized. I don't know.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
cover the tablet with my
I'm gonna.
cloak and pick it up and take it with me. I'm claiming ownership of this until it is decided what to do with this in an honorable method.
Fair. That's what we're doing with it. I
Okay, I
guess.
trust him.
Galen says, "Well, I lack armor and swords, so I'm in no position to dispute that."
Thus,
but
my
I would-
statement.
I would say, Sraden, though, that I understand that you are a just man and a just knight, and that you would not wish to disturb the rest of these warriors around us. But in point of fact, they are in fact not resting. If the legends
I
are true.
listened to what you said, therefore I'm not destroying the tablet now.
All right.
Now.
Maybe
Well,
later.
With that, we will. Lady Bridget needs to go, so we will
Yes.
take it up next time.